What's up, you guys? This is Rob from vYyVME, and today on the hit list, we are taking a look at my top 5 favorite melee weapons of 2017. Now, of course, because some feelings tend to get mixed up with this whole situation when certain weapons don't end up on certain lists, I do need to put this out there to you. This is not the top 5 meta weapons of 2017. This is not the top 5 damage dealing weapons of 2017. Instead, it is a favorites list of the melee weapons that I have really enjoyed playing throughout this year. Now, of course, because it's me and I like to do a little bit of min-maxing, there still is going to be a mix of efficacy, it's going to be a little bit of beauty, and a whole lot of funnery. Just things that I've really enjoyed playing, and not things that I felt like I've been forced to play because of one specific meta or another. Now, speaking of things like that, I do want to point out that we will not be seeing the SANDR anywhere on my list because of the fact that this melee weapon isn't quite used typically as a melee weapon so much. There's some really cool tricks you can do with it with the Vara. It's really great for zoning out areas, but legitimately, to me, it's one of those weapons that you kind of get into melee, toss it out really quick, and then jump to your primaries or secondaries or your Warframe abilities. So this is not going to be making an appearance, so don't get your feelings mixed about that. However, let's go ahead and jump into the good stuff. Okay, so I get that it probably wasn't the greatest idea telling everybody that I wasn't going to put the SANDR on my list, then quickly putting the 700-day login reward as my number 5. But there is no denying that the Starscream and Optimus is a damn good weapon. First and foremost, it uses a Final Harbinger, which is probably one of the funnest melee stances in game. Then it has that really cool throwing mechanic. Let's just, stop talking about this and get to the good killing stuff. Alright, so let's take a look at this in action against, guess what, a level 155 Billy. Oh yes, he has gone up 5 levels now, but as you can see right here, and I'm just not going to use the throwing thing yet because I just want to show you how it performs on its own when you're not leaping around like a crazy person. But really, it eviscerates an enemy so quickly as long as you can hit your shots, because I'll be completely honest with you, it can be a little bit hard to hit sometimes on that first combo because you're doing a little, a little bit of leaping. But as you can see right here, after you get used to it, you can pretty much eliminate him very quickly. And the thing that I love about this is it doesn't feel slow, which is something that the rest of the sword and board weapons kind of did feel a little bit like. Let's go ahead and do the throwing animation right now. A little bit of that. Oh, and then that really fast combo, and he's pretty much gone. Now, of course, I do have to say this is all before the damage 2.5 changes have come around. However, if you guys did notice, this thing has a heavy chunk of itself in slash, so you're still going to get a lot of those slash procs built in. And one of the things that I must, well, that was that. One of the things that I must point out too that I think is really cool, actually let's go ahead and do this now, is because of the fact that the shield has tracking. Not that this really matters all that much, but all of the shields will track onto the same target. Now, that's not something that you normally get with, like, the glaives and whatnot, because legitimately all of the glaives just kind of, like, get thrown forward, but because of the fact that this literally locks onto the nearest enemy around you, this will actually all, well, for the most part, all lock into the same target. Oh, it just looks so cool to have, like, 4 of them being thrown mid-air. And then you do the super fast combo, which, by the way, I believe is the 1, 2, pause, and then that one. Because it does have this one too, which, of course, I'm super fond of, which has a lot of mobility. But you know what? That all comes together to make my top 5 weapon, my 5th weapon of 2017. Let's go ahead and move along to the next. Now, at number 4 comes the Glaive Prime. This thing absolutely blew me away this year, not just because it's a solid weapon, but because of the fact that it actually has some really cool interactions with some of the Warframes themselves. So, for those of you who are unaware, we do have a melee multiplier of 0.5. However, the Glaive Prime has a modified melee multiplier. So instead of going by 0.5 increments when you do your combo counters, you get your combo counters, you rack up the points, you get a melee multiplier. Instead of getting a 0.5 melee multiplier, this thing gives you a 0.75 melee multiplier, meaning that it racks up the damage very quickly, especially with things like Relentless Combination. And for those of you who are scared of damage 2.5 coming through, pay attention, this thing's got a lot of slash in its base. We will be losing out a little bit of the damage that comes in there, but I think this is still going to be pretty solid. So let's go ahead and take a look at this thing in action. Now, one of the things that I hadn't mentioned about this weapon and the previous weapon is, honey, they are absolutely freaking gorgeous. Now, one of the things that I really like about this is a lot of the combos just let you stack up damage really fast. So as you can see right here, even the down version lets you do that really quickly, and then the spinning combos let you make very quick work. So straight out of the gate, just fighting that one enemy, we're already at a 3.25 multiplier. That is absolutely nuts. Now, for those of you guys who weren't aware, there are many Warframe abilities in game that actually work with the melee multiplier. So if you think about, let's say, Atlas's Landslide, you can get that to boost the damage of Atlas's Landslide on top of everything. And then on top of that, you can also get it to modify the damage of Ash's Blade Storm. I know I don't rep for Ash very often, but holy shit, that's a great way to be able to boost up that damage. And because of the fact that Ash does strengthen slash procs, you know what I mean? This kind of pairs very well with him. And because of the fact that it's got, you know, a good chunk of status, you're going to be applying a lot of those slashes. Me, I'm not playing the greatest right now, to be completely honest with you. But hey, listen, it does the job, and it does the job well and beautifully. Plus, you can live out your dreams of being freaking Wolverine, right? So go ahead, have at it, and let's go and move on to the next. Coming in at number 3 is the Nami Prime, and this thing is as deadly as it is gorgeous, and trust me, it's a goddamn fucking bombshell. This is probably one of my favorite melee weapon models in game. It's gorgeous. Now, if I'm gonna be frank with you, number 3, 4, and 5 were all kind of up in the air when I was making this list. Number 1 and 2 were pretty much solidified, but when I played around with this stance right here, Carving Mantis, I was like, nah, the rest of y'all can kind of bump down that list real fast, and Nami Prime can come right up here, because this thing is a fucking badass with this. Let's go ahead and see how it all plays out. Now, I do wanna let you know right now, I did handicap myself for this. You guys probably can't see it on the screen right now, but I do have an attack speed and critical chance mod on this. Trust me, it kills my soul not using this, but you still do the job anyway, because this thing is an absolute beast. I don't know what it is, like, I didn't really pay attention too much to stances for like most of the year, but this year we got some really insane stances that forced some really from sexy slash procs. Like, oh my god, just like, I mean, I'm sure that's not gonna be as powerful as, you know, that looks after damage 2.5 comes out, but shit, like, you can't tell me that that isn't dope. And it's got this cool kick in it. Hold on, let me try to do the cool kick. Oh, just do the cool kick. I will get the cool kick on the next run, because there's a spinning kick to it and actually deals even more damage on that combo, but it's a one pause, and the hit on the one pause is very, come on, yeah, we did the kick. Oh, right there. Okay. Oh, even. It's just so pitiful. It just makes your heart feel good when you hit the combos, and it's like, look at the way, like, even if you just holster it on the sides of your Warframe, it's so fucking gorgeous. You slap that on Hydra, you slap that on, you know, Excalibur Prime. Oh, maybe. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. I already pissed off enough people with the no ZSR thing. Regardless, it's powerful, it's gorgeous, it's like, it's fantastic. Just get yourself a copy of Carving Mantis, which I do believe drops off of the bounties, and you'll have a powerhouse on your hands, even without a ribbon mod. Alrighty, so number 2 is a little bit contentious because I am not naming one weapon, I am naming an entire category of weapons, yes, and number 2 comes Zaza. These things are fucking fantastic. Legitimately, if you build them right, you can have some of the most powerful weapons in game, and I remember some crazy ass content creators saying that these things were bad. I don't know if it was Reddit or something that said that these things were not good, but legitimately, got my hands on them, did a little bit of studying, figured out what paired good with what, and I was like, holy shit, we have some of the best weapons in their categories. Like, we definitely have the best daggers, we definitely have the best machetes, some of the polearms are comparable to some of the best in-game, swords are the same way. I'm just like, damn, these things are fantastic. Now, clearly, I'm not going to show you every single one of these weapons out there. I'll probably pick, like, maybe a machete and a dagger to show you. So let's go ahead and jump into that real quick. Let's take a look at the mods in here. Now, one of the big reasons that I really fell in love with the Zaza daggers is because of the fact that we got Stinging Thorn this year, and it's very similar to how in the previous one I was talking about the Nami Skyla got Carving Mantis, and that stance was really great. Well, this one is fantastic as well. Not only is the Zaza itself really powerful, because guess what? I was able to customize it that way. But because of the fact that Stinging Thorn has a melee combo that actually opens up melee finishers, and of course, we have Covert Lethality on daggers, so not only is it a powerful ass dagger, but it's also got finishers just built in. Sure, why not have that? That's fucking fantastic, but let's take a quick look real fast. Look at this, look at how gorgeous this is. And of course, I do have the Suicide Arcane on this, which is Arcane Contagion, and that's also another plus in the Zaza category because of the fact that you can use the Plague Star Exodias, or you can even just use the regular Cetus Exodias. Those things are absolutely insane, and as you can see, that took down Billy faster than some of the other weapons that you've actually seen on this list. Now let's go ahead and try to go for one of those melee finishers that of course pair so well with Covert there, and he's dead, and he's dead. He's literally dead. In like 8 hits, he's gone. It's absolute insanity. Plus, one of the other things that you can add onto this too, which is probably the Exodia that I should have on it, is Exodia Might, which has a chance to give you a lifesteal buff. So it doesn't just lifesteal on that one specifically, but it will actually go ahead and give you a buff that allows you to lifesteal for a few seconds afterwards. So that works perfectly with that. I mean, even think about that when it comes to Naramon, pairing those two together. Oh my god, it's absolute insanity. So there's my Arcane Zelos. Let's take a look at the Brizo real fast, because this thing is just fucking gorgeous. Now, if we're talking about damage 2.5, which as we know, I don't know if it's coming this year, I don't know if it's coming next year, it's somewhere. But I do want to point out the fact that the Syath, which is one of my favorite strikes for this, actually has I believe it's like 75% of its damage in slash. So if y'all are, you want to play around, with some of those things out there, you want to do some condition overload, you want to do some relentless combination, you want to do some status procs, this thing should still hold up pretty well. I actually have a ribbon for it that I haven't quite rolled into something that I want to use yet, but let's take a look at how a Machete Zaw works with relentless combination, because again, you can basically tailor this to whatever you want. And actually, that was one of the interesting points that somebody had made to me. The coolest part about Zaz is if you get a Zaw ribbon, what you can actually do, is roll a good ribbon for it. Just roll any ribbon, and once you get a good roll, just build a Zaw around that freaking ribbon. And I was like, you can't do that with standard melee weapons, you basically have the weapon stats and you do with what you can. But in this case, because of the fact that you have a weapon that you can customize and build for yourself, holy shit, and put an arcane on yourself too. In fact, I'm very tempted one of these days to try to make a really cool channeling build with Zeneric. Rob's gotta play, Rob's gotta, do his mechanical stuff. But you can build around whatever ribbon it is that you receive, and I think that is just something so different, so unique. But not only is it different and unique, it's also gorgeous and really powerful. So you get customization, you get beauty, and you get efficacy all in the same place. It's absolutely amazing. So before we jump into my favorite melee weapon of 2017, I did have some honorable mentions, and I'm gonna be completely honest with you, there were a ton of them. I actually had to pare this list down by a bunch because of the fact that we got things like condition overload. Of course, we got the melee ribbons this year. There's a lot of things, and including Naramon as well, that just kind of make everything super ridiculously powerful. So a part of me was like, all right, you can't put everything on this list, so let's pick and choose. One of the big ones that is on this list is actually, oh, I did a 2-for-1 on this one. I did the Croaker and the Twin Croaker. If you guys have not checked that one out already, be sure that you do so, because both of those are really, really powerful in their own ways. The single Croaker has a lot of crit onto it, and it's got a decent amount of status, but it's also got a lot of slash to it as well. Same thing goes for the Twin Croaker, except it's a little bit reversed. That one's got more status and then got a little bit of crit, but they're both slash heavy. So that's something to keep in mind when you go into damage 2.5. The next one on there, ooh, this one is one of my favorites. You guys gotta try a Condition Overload Sarpa. Please, trust me, it is mind-blowing how good this thing is, and you don't necessarily have to be in up-close melee range. You gotta be in that general area so that damage fall-off doesn't go bye-bye, but whoa, this thing is a surprising knockout. And of course, last but not least, because of mechanics. Alright, I'm gonna be honest with you, this one got in because of mechanics alone, but the Haruto. The motherfucking Haruto. It gives you an HP boost, and it also restores health on crits. Like, that is just, wow, what is that? And then mix that in with like sparring weapon stuff where you can do finishers. You know, you do the charge button, then you do like a melee finisher on the enemy. It's just a whole bunch of good wrapped up into one. Now, finally, we arrive at my top spot, and I am very, very curious. Did y'all guess that this would be it? That the Glaive Prime would be my favorite weapon of 2017? Because let me tell you right now, this thing's an absolute beast in multiple ways. It had a massive resurgence this year because of what they did with dual wielding. Dual wielding is like after my own soul. It like sped up the throw speed, it gave it a power throw, but on top of that, the Glaive Prime also got a bit of a buff. Now, I'll be honest, it was a while ago that I touched this before the rework, but this thing now has a built-in slash proc on throw. So it forces slash damage with a power throw in there. Holy shit. But not only that, it is a melee weapon that still stands on its own as well, even when built for throwing. So part of me is like, y'all, I built this for throwing. What would happen if I actually legit built it for melee combat? I mean, y'all can imagine. And in fact, I want to let you guys know right now, I'm taking one for the team today. I do have a really great rivet on it. We've got some attack speed, some critical chance, but I'm putting that aside because I want you guys to see how this performs without any of that, you know, fancy schmancy mumbo jumbo. So straight out of the gate, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to put away the dual wielding, and I'm going to use it just as a standard melee weapon. And I'm just going to tell you right now, I was like, shocked. I was like, yo, you're still doing it. I was like, how are you? You're still doing all of this beautiful, wonderful, majestic damage. Because legitimately, I was like, you should be more crap than this. You should be more crap than this with 2 mod slots that don't actually affect your melee capabilities, but legitimately, it's actually still performing. And I'm going to tell you right now, I haven't actually gone through all of the combos to see if there is an optimized combo yet. I'm just using it's kind of like a right click combo where it kind of like knocks enemies down. So it still does the job right there, just as well as some of the melee weapons on the lower end of this list. But now let's go ahead and show you where this thing truly shines. Oh, how appropriate. So when you go ahead, oh, let me do a little dual wielding here. As you can see there with blinded enemies, oh my god, it just opens them up to stealth finish. I didn't even have to do that last throw. It was like donezo. But yeah, as you can see right there, blinded enemies, woo, just kind of kicks the shit out of them. Of course, there was a little simulacrum visual bug there, but let's do that one more time so you guys can see that again. Now, the reason that I'm using blinds is because of the fact that several Warframes have the ability to blind enemies, you know? Whether it's going to be Mirage, whether it's going to be Excalibur, or if you just want to use Matarite to go ahead and do that as well. But the fun does not stop there. It does not stop there. You can actually go ahead and use the Zakti to open up enemies into this melee finisher state. And the, oh my god, I didn't even do like a big old, I didn't even do like a crazy big old power throw for the first one. It was already eating through them. Now, I know some people are going to be concerned at the fact that, you know, is this going to last through melee 2.5? And a part of me is going to be like, you know what, it probably won't be as strong, but I think it'll still I mean, this thing is still, that's a level 155 bombard. I mean, come on, y'all. For the star chart, it's still gonna be fine and dandy. So that is why this weapon, the versatility, the beauty, the efficacy, the funnery, all in one place. That is why the Glaive Prime is legitimately my favorite melee weapon of 2017. Being able to perform on so many different levels, being able to mix mechanics, the whole dual wielding effect just absolutely won it for me this year. Now, I want to know what all of your favorite melee weapons of 2017 are. Go ahead and leave that in the comments below. I want to see, you know, did we line up? Did we have some shares going along in there? Or maybe, you know, you're just 1 through 5 is like Zenistar, 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 honorable mention Zenistar. Toss that in the comments as well. Let me know. And maybe there's some weapons that I'll, you know, be able to like look back on and it's like, oh, I missed that one. That was really, really good too. So if you guys get a chance, what I want you to do, if you haven't already, revisit some of the weapons on my list. See if they feel good for you too, especially the honorable mentions, because that condition overload SARPA, oh my god, my heart and soul goes out to that weapon. It was so hard not putting it on the list, but ooh my god, so much. Try all of those out, as well as my top 5. Share your top 5 down in the comments below, and I guess that pretty much does it for this installation. You'll be seeing the rest of the list coming up very shortly. So as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch your favorite melee weapon of 2017. I didn't do that on beat. Regardless, have a great time, and I will chat with you soon. Bye-bye.